Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into something I find absolutely fascinating, and that is the ripple effect. We constantly hear about these massive artificial intelligence breakthroughs and billions of dollars shuffling around the corporate tech world. But how does all of that actually trickle down to you? How do these massive industry shifts and multi-billion-dollar disputes directly impact our daily user experiences, the hardware we buy, or even the academic realities inside our universities? Well, we're going to connect the dots from the highest levels of tech manufacturing straight down to the screens right there in your pockets. Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We're going from macro-level industry battles all the way down to micro-level consumer rights. First, we'll look at the AI hardware gold rush, then examine generative AI's staggering impact in the classroom. From there, we'll look at what happens when consumer AI assistants actually falter, check out some massive quality-of-life tech upgrades, and finally wrap up with the fight for game ownership.
All right, starting off with Section 1, the AI hardware gold rush and multi-billion-dollar strikes.
So right now, there's a massive labor dispute happening in Korea involving thousands of Samsung workers, and it is totally exposing the intense demand of the AI boom. I mean, this has already caused DDR4 memory prices to jump 20% in a single week. To understand why they're striking, you just have to look at the sheer amount of money being generated here. Samsung offered their workers 10% of operating profits and a one-time bonus of $340,000. Sounds great, right? Well, compare that to their competitor, SK Hynix, where employees are pulling in $470,000 in bonuses this year, with analysts projecting up to a $900,000 payout next year. Because of that stark contrast, Samsung's negotiations completely collapsed, and they were forced to start winding down chip production ahead of a strike, running until June 7th. And the stakes for this shutdown? They're literally staggering. Samsung stands to lose $2 billion daily. The union is perfectly fine waiting out the strike because they know exactly what their labor is worth in an AI-hungry world, while Samsung is obviously eager to stop this massive daily bleed. Moving right along to Section 2, generative AI in the classroom, an academic crisis. We're shifting our focus here from corporate AI profits to the institutional impact. We're specifically looking at how new AI policies, or honestly, the lack of them, are fundamentally altering current student performance. A new University of California study recently analyzed 500,000 student grades from large research universities between 2018 and 2025. The data is incredibly eye-opening. Depending on their field, about 30 to 40% of students, so averaging out to 35%, flat out admitted to using generative AI to cheat on assignments or exams. This isn't just some fringe issue anymore. This is a significant chunk of the student body integrating AI into their daily academic workflows. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this specific metric. Compared to the baseline established in 2022, which was right before the massive explosion of consumer generative AI, there has been a 30% increase in students receiving A grades. We are looking at a direct statistical inflation of academic success directly correlated with the widespread availability of these AI tools. And that brings us to this incredibly telling quote. Despite this massive shift in academic performance and widespread cheating, universities reportedly have no idea what to do about it. There's just this total institutional paralysis when it comes to forming new policies. They're really struggling to adapt to a reality where the macro AI boom has completely upended traditional grading and student assessment.
Okay, let's zoom in a bit closer to the daily user experience with Section 3, When AI Assistants Falter, featuring Sony's camera struggle.
We've talked about billions in hardware and academic upheaval, but what happens when AI features actually fail in the consumer products we hold in our hands? Take the newly launched Sony Xperia 1.8 flagship phone. Sony's promo ads ended up getting absolutely roasted online because they literally showed the AI blowing out the brightness and washing out the colors in their demo photos. In response to the backlash, Sony posted a tweet defending the feature, saying the assistant isn't modifying the photos, it's just suggesting creative settings you can use if you want to. If we translate that corporate speak into consumer reality, it basically means this: we know the AI suggestions are bad, but hey, no one is forcing you to use them. It's a perfect, slightly hilarious example of the current tech landscape. Companies are rushing to integrate AI just to ride the hype wave, but when the feature actually degrades your user experience, the backpedaling begins. And this brilliantly illustrates why we need to talk about Section 4, Quality of Life Tech Upgrades, PC and GPU Lifelines. While new AI features might sometimes miss the mark, older hardware is actually getting some massive software lifelines.
It's not always about upgrading to the newest, most expensive thing. Sometimes the tech you already own just gets remarkably better. For example, Microsoft is working on this automated cloud-initiated driver recovery for Windows 11, set to officially roll out in September 2026. If you've ever had a bad Windows update totally brick your system, you know the pain. This new feature operates in 4 steps without you having to do a thing. It identifies the borked drivers, creates a recovery request, delivers a rollback instruction directly to your device through Windows Update, and finally confirms an approved driver to install before uninstalling the bad one. It's just a massive win for consumer peace of mind.
We're also seeing hardware lifelines coming from AMD. They confirmed their FSR 4.1 upscaling won't be reserved exclusively for the newer Radeon RX 9000 series GPUs. Coming this July, Radeon 7000 series owners are getting FSR 4.1 support across over 300 games right at launch. And the RX 6000 folks, you're getting it in early 2027. This is fantastic because it significantly extends the life of older GPUs. Plus, since the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S use the exact same RDNA 2 architecture as the 6000 series, getting FSR 4 on current-gen consoles is now a very real possibility. However, just to keep you fully informed on the actual limits here, there is a technical caveat. Older graphics cards will inherently take a bigger performance hit when using this software. This is because older cards rely on older INT8 math processing, instead of the dedicated FP8 accelerator you'll find in the newer 9000 series. So while it absolutely is a lifeline, the performance gains are naturally going to have a ceiling compared to the newest hardware. And just a quick heads up on some new hardware hitting the market. Despite vehemently denying rumors last year, ASUS is officially entering memory manufacturing. Their very first ROG-branded RAM launches June 1st in China and Taiwan. It's a 48GB DDR5 kit, but the real standout feature is an exclusive ROG mode toggle that activates if you pair it with a compatible ASUS ROG motherboard. Just an interesting little development if you're a PC builder planning your next rig.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, the fight for game ownership and the Stop Killing Games initiative.
This brings us straight to the core of consumer rights in the digital age. It's an ongoing legislative battle that perfectly highlights why we need to pay close attention to the software we're putting our hard-earned money into. Recently, the Stop Killing Games initiative scored a really massive victory. The California Appropriations Committee approved a bill that requires publishers to ensure developers provide offline solutions or issue refunds if there's a service interruption. While this bill still has a few hurdles before becoming actual law, it represents a monumental push to protect us from losing access to games we've bought just because a company decides to shut down their servers. But I have to tell you, this is a fiercely contested battle with a fundamental divide. The Stop Killing Games initiative is demanding offline solutions and basic software preservation. Opposing them is the Entertainment Software Association, a massive industry lobbying group, who called the bill fundamentally flawed. Their argument basically boils down to the claim that gamers do not actually buy or own games at all, we merely license them. And that brings us to the core tension of our modern digital age, perfectly encapsulated in this one question. Do you actually own the digital media you pay for? Think about it. Whether it's an AI-powered phone that fails to deliver, a digital game that could literally be turned off tomorrow, or an operating system pushing automated updates, our entire relationship with technology is constantly being negotiated. It is a question worth asking yourself every single time you click buy. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this helped you understand the massive ripple effects shaping our tech reality today.